Right, let's just jump right in. There's this one spot on the map, a tiny little waterway that is probably one of the most critical choke points on the entire planet. And right now, it's under serious threat. We're talking, of course, about the Strait of Hormuz. So, why should you care? What makes this little sliver of water so incredibly important to all of us? Well, it really boils down to this one kind of mind-blowing number, 20%. If you remember one thing from this explainer, remember that number. It's the key to this whole thing. Yeah, you heard that right. 20% of all the oil the world uses every single day. And that's not even counting the huge amounts of liquefied natural gas from places like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE. It's all getting funneled through this one super narrow passage. You can think of it as the planet's main economic artery. It's that big a deal. And look, this is exactly why this isn't just some far-off geopolitical drama you can ignore. A problem here hits your wallet directly. We're talking instant jumps in gas prices, shipping costs going through the roof, which means everything you buy gets more expensive. Yep, inflation. What goes down in this strait, you feel it every time you fill up your car or go to the grocery store. Okay, so you hear these threats all the time, right? People talking about closing the strait. But what does that actually look like? It's probably not what you're picturing. Yeah, let's just get one thing straight right away. We're not talking about someone building a giant wall or dropping some kind of physical barrier into the ocean. The reality is a lot more dangerous than that. See, closing the strait really just means making it way too risky for anyone to pass through. It's about turning it into a total no-go zone. And how do you do that? Well, you use things like sea mines, you threaten ships with advanced missiles, or you spark a direct military fight. Basically, you make it so dangerous that no shipping company in its right mind would dare send its vessels through. Now, here's where things get kind of counterintuitive. You'd think a crisis like this would be bad for everyone, right? Wrong. In any big global mess, there are always a few winners. It sounds a little cynical, I know, but hey, that's just how economics works. So who pops the champagne when things go sideways here? Well, first up, you've got the other big oil-producing countries, the ones outside the Gulf. Think Russia, the US. A sudden price spike, for them, that's a massive payday. Then you have the big energy companies. Their profits can just explode. And here's the kicker, Iran. Even while causing the problem, they win by gaining huge strategic leverage. I mean, if you can threaten the world's energy supply, you suddenly have a really, really powerful card to play in any negotiation. But that's a pretty short list. Now, let's flip the coin and talk about the losers. And trust me, this list is a whole lot longer. The losing side? Well, it's basically everyone else. Huge oil importers like India, Japan, the EU, they'd get hit with an immediate economic earthquake. You and me, the regular consumers, we'd be paying more for pretty much everything. And what about the Gulf countries themselves? They'd be choked off, unable to sell their number one product. It's a total disaster for global trade, throwing supply chains into absolute chaos. Okay, so the stakes are insanely high, we get that. Which brings us to the big, multi-billion-dollar question. We've talked a lot about the threat, but what's the actual reality? Let's get a little military reality check here. So, for real, could the Strait of Hormuz actually be closed for good? Could someone just shut it down and send the entire world spiraling into an economic crisis? Is that even possible? Okay, let me just give you the short answer. Almost certainly not. See, the US Navy and its allies have a massive military presence there for this exact reason. Any attempt to fully and permanently close the strait, that would trigger an absolutely overwhelming military response, and fast. And this right here is the key takeaway. The real threat isn't a permanent shutdown, it's disruption. Think smaller, targeted attacks, credible threats, things that are designed to cause chaos, not to stop ships forever. The goal is to send insurance rates soaring, to freak out the global markets, and just generally to create widespread panic. And that right there tells you everything you need to know about the real strategy. This isn't about starting a massive war. It's about playing a very, very high-stakes game of geopolitical poker. Iran's playbook is pretty simple, really. It's a message: if you won't let us sell our oil, well, we can make sure nobody sells their oil. It's all about leverage, and the world's response? It's a slow, grinding effort to make this threat less powerful over time. They're building alternative pipelines, beefing up their emergency oil reserves, and, this is the big one, pushing harder and faster into renewable energy. Because really, the only way to truly win this game for good is to stop playing it, by not needing the oil from this region in the first place. So, where do we go from here?
You can pretty much imagine three different paths. Path one, the best case scenario. Diplomacy wins the day, everyone calms down, and the ships keep sailing. Path two, probably the most likely. We get these flare-ups. A small attack, a scary threat, things that cause short-term price spikes and a lot of anxiety, but not an all-out crisis. And then there's path three, the worst case. A mistake, a miscalculation, and boom, a major military conflict. We're not just talking about expensive gas anymore. That's the kind of thing that could tip the entire world into a recession.
At the end of the day, this whole situation is just a powerful reminder of how incredibly fragile our global system really is. Everything is connected. And it really leaves you with one final sobering thought. When it comes to a crisis in a place this important, the whole idea of winning just goes out the window. There are no real winners, just those who manage to lose a little bit less than everyone else.